Please excuse me if I sound groggy. I was forced by Jeff Keighley to stay up until 5 o'clock in the morning to check to see if a leak was real. I was totally normal during the time of the Game Awards, and I'm definitely normal right now. Somebody sub right now. Show them that it is financially beneficial for me to stand in front of this. Thank you. Anyway, Guilty Gear Strive just had its newest DLC character added to the game, being, of course, Elphelt. Rocking a new outfit, new kit, and no bunny ears, Elphelt has somewhat taken the Strive community hostage as we've realized one thing. She's actually really fun. So, let's talk about Elphelt Valentine. But first, Gamer Subs, the partner of this channel. Do you like caffeine? Do you like tasty energy drinks? Do you like waifus? You're watching this video, you like waifus. I know you like waifus. Gamer Subs manages to combine all three into one tasty energy drink formula. Simply pick one of their amazing flavors, get one of their waifu shaker cups, add some fizzy or standard water, shake it up, and have an amazing tasty beverage that you can enjoy. Since it is nearly the end of the year, Gamer Subs are coming out with their last waifu cups of the year, and they have a bunch of new ones coming soon. So make sure to get your orders in now. So what are you waiting for? Go down to the description and use code HE'sGekking on the link below to get 10% off your order. Thank you to Gamer Subs for the partnership, and let's continue with the video. Elphelt made her debut in Xrd. She actually had two different designs throughout the course of Xrd's life, with her transitioning from a pink Pascal design to a goth phase when Revelator came out. In Strive, she's got out of her wedding dress and now has a nice mix of the two designs, going for a pastel punk look. She did lose her ears though, which... she can't hear anything anymore! She's deaf! Elphelt in Xrd can only be described as a war criminal, with a shotgun stance that literally needed its own documentation in order for you to figure out how not to die to it, and a literal honest-to-God hand grenade. Elphelt managed to have ridiculous pressure, ridiculous combos, and some of the best Okizeme in the game. I didn't play Xrd much, but I heard horror stories about this character, so I didn't exactly want to see a return in Strive because... well, we've already had a lot of bad experiences with guns over here. So you can imagine the despair that I felt when, like, a week before the announcement came out, she got leaked and nobody stopped talking about it. Thank you to everyone who farmed Twitter clout by constantly reposting a leak with no spoiler tag. I was so happy the day of the announcement to have the whole thing leaked to me by simply checking Twitter when I was going to announce that I was going live. That was so nice of all of you. But then artists do the things that they always seem to do with Xrd characters that I don't want, and they make them actually fun to play. Let's go over some of the things that they changed, beginning with that bloody grenade. Elphelt's grenade has been changed drastically, now being tied to a mobility tool called Bomb Chocolat. By doing 214HS, Elphelt flips through the air and drops a grenade on the floor. This grenade explodes after a set amount of time, meaning with the correct amount of setup, you're able to use this in Oki situations. The flip distance is also affected by Elphelt's prior momentum, meaning if you dash at the start of the attack, you'll go further. This attack can be used in both block strings and for Oki setups. Her 236S and HS is Miss Charlotte. This is Elphelt's projectile, and it has some funky properties. The projectile starts going in a straight line, but after a set distance, it stops for a little bit and then flies directly to where the opponent currently is. The projectile is very slow to come out, and leaves Elphelt very negative when it's blocked. So it's generally best to use when you know that your opponent won't be able to do anything about it, or when you have no other options at full screen and need to pressure the opponent with something. 214K is Miss Charlotte out of repair. Unlike the other Miss Charlotte moves, this causes Elphelt to fly towards her opponents. It's very negative on block, but the momentum allows for Elphelt to clear a lot of space, making it good for converting to the corner. It's also sometimes good to just send it out and Roman cancel it once you can smell the opponent's last meal. There's also a cool trick that I found where if you hit the opponent with the move and then red Roman cancel up, you can actually fire a shot in the air as you land. The shot will then miss the opponent and fly backwards, hitting them towards you. It's a nice conversion tool and it can be pretty fancy looking when you land it. You can probably also use it for Oki situations, but I'm an idiot so I have no idea. All of these moves though pale in comparison to her most important tool, Chain Lollipop. Chain Lollipop is the overall name of Elphelt's Rekka sequence. By inputting 214S, you activate Chain Lollipop and gain access to 4 different follow-ups, all corresponding to different attack buttons, not including the dust button. All of these link into each other in different ways, so I'll start at the start of the sequence and go through the possible endings. It's not too complicated, but it can be confusing when you hear about it for the first time, so I'll try and make it as simple as possible to understand. If you press slash again, you get Here I Go. This is the same move as when you start Chain Lollipop, with just a different animation. If you go from any other move that isn't Chain Lollipop into Here I Go, the animation will just be the start of Chain Lollipop again. This is the start of the sequence, and allows you to go into any of the other Rekka moves. This also resets any situations that might come up from other Rekkas being used. This sounds confusing right now, but it'll make sense in a second. By pressing punch, Elphelt does Up High, a fast multi-hitting overhead attack. Elphelt attacks 3 times as she drags and fires one of her guns down over your head. The attack takes about 14 frames to come out, so it's not exactly reactive. If you press punch again, you get another overhead follow-up that ends the Rekka sequence. However, you can go into any other Rekka attack as long as you don't do the second Up High. By pressing kick, Elphelt does Down Low, a fast-hitting low attack. This attack only hits 1 time, but also comes out in 14 frames, meaning not only is the mix-up not reactable, you can't fuzzy block the overhead and the low. You have to guess what Elphelt is doing. This doesn't mean that it's the only option to deal with the Rekka, but it's still a very powerful tool, especially when your opponent has no idea what's going on. If you press kick again, you get a second low, just like with Up High. You can also go between Up High and Down Low. However, if you use the other attack, you get the second version of it, meaning that you end the Rekka right there and then. If you want to stay in the Rekka sequence, you have to use Here I Go, and only then can you get the first versions of the attacks. If you press heavy slash, you get Nailed It, a high damage ender which cannot go into any other Rekka attack. Nailed It not only gives you good damage, but it also pushes the opponent back far. Tie this with her being only -5 on block, and you have a reliable way to end your Rekka sequence if you don't want to deal with the punishment that your opponent is going to give you. Elphelt's Rekka is what some people would call degenerate. It's an extremely powerful tool that can be hard to deal with and has a lot of reward if you just spam it, but it's not unbeatable. If she doesn't have meter while using it, the only reliable option to end the sequence is Nailed It, since the other enders on Up High and Down Low are extremely negative. If she attempts to reset the sequence with Here I Go, you can 6p her out of it, giving you a full free counter hit combo. So it's on you to recognize when the Elphelt is going to reset the sequence and what she's going to do. For the Elphelt player though, this is exactly what you've been waiting for. Free mix-ups and stupid pressure just lets you go crazy. Condition your opponent enough and you're able to loop the Rekka into itself over and over and over again. Aren't you tired of playing the game properly? Don't you just want to go ape shit? Elphelt feels like the kind of character that's one big revelation away from being completely crap. Once people figure out some universal way to be able to beat the Rekka sequence, Elphelt players are actually going to have to learn how to play neutral and play the game. But for now, it's pretty fun to be the psychopath for once. While we're here, let's quickly go through her supers. 632146HS is... Oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Giganta da Pafeo. If I mispronounced that, no I didn't. This is her only reversal, being a 13-frame super move. This is on the slower side for reversal supers, and it being her only reversal move means that she can land herself in some pretty sticky situations. Thankfully, it does a lot of damage when it connects, and it's surprisingly easy to land in combos, making it a good ender. Her 236-236K is Bombonieri. Oh, fuck my life. Bombonieri. A literal belt of grenades that she straps to the opponent. After a certain amount of time, the bombs explode, meaning she can use it for combos, or she can use it for pressure sequences. It should be noted as well that this is not a hit grab super. This is a fully dedicated command grab super, meaning you can't use it in combos. You have to land the command grab. Well, okay, you normally can't land it in combos. The only exception is if you land her Wild Assault with the opponent still being on the ground during the combo, you can combo into the super. And it is a very good super. You have the choice of continuing the combo when you land it, or you can go for specific setups. These can be mix-ups that are layered on top of each other, or they can be silly things like just dumb pressure sequences after the bomb explodes. I've not actually landed this super yet, but I've seen the things that some people are doing with it, and his character might be a grappler, honestly. If you go for the command grab super, land it, go for the pressure, and they end up blocking everything, you still get free close slash pressure, so it's pretty good to land this when you get the chance. Plus, who expects a super command grab? Like, let's be real. Elphelt is a bit of a gorilla. She's able to pressure and mix her opponents very easily, but the further you get away from her, the less scary she becomes. At longer ranges, she's able to use her projectile, but because of the startup, it's less of a keep out tool and more of a tool that you use to force your opponent to do something. Spamming it will get you easily hit, so it's generally best to just use it in setups. You can also use it for Oki, or just use it to make your opponent do something. Once she finally gets in your face, she's very good, if she's the one on offense. Having her fastest button be 5 frames means she isn't able to mash out of a lot of things, and her slow reversal isn't helping her that much. But none of that matters, as she has some of the best mix-ups in the game. A 14-frame overhead that can be switched out with a low in the same sequence is nothing to be scoffed at. In fact, it's something that a lot of people absolutely love to abuse. I do not see the low wrecker, ever! Everyone goes for the overhead! A frame data could be better, but most of her moves are designed in such a way to get you into her wrecker sequence as fast as possible, or just get you into a position that you like. For Elphelt, the plan is generally to get in on your opponent, knock them down, and then perform Oki with either her grenade or her gunshot. Generally, you don't want to end a sequence with your wrecker, so cancelling the final hit of wrecker into Roman cancel can really help you out with this. This is because, apart from nailed it, most of the final wrecker hits are really slow to recover. You can go back to Here I Go in order to leave yourself at -2 in front of their face, which shouldn't really be underestimated, but don't overly rely on it, especially since comboing back into Here I Go is pretty rare. It's pretty good on block though, it's only -2, meaning that if you really want to scare your opponent, you can do Here I Go and then nothing. It's very funny, I really recommend it. Elphelt has joined the jungle as Strive's newest gorilla character, having insane offense and really good Oki tools. Elphelt is able to mix her opponents up and keep them in the blender for a really long time. And while you're in there, you have an overwhelming feeling that you will never escape. She's gonna get you to sign that marriage certificate if you like it or not. As always, a very special thanks to 64 MHz, Almost Nap Time, Antithesis06, Ben from Canada, Cervantes de Leon, Daniel Wiedericht, Fexo, Games.png, I Am Naoto, MP04, Ray W, Sergeant Cubby, Super, Forcon, Tom Tanks, Voltage Charge, and Zandatsu for being Tier 2 patron supporters.